So me and my ex-wife Kat divorced about 2 years ago. There are no hurt feelings, it was a mutual decision. We have 2 kids together, Maya and Cameron. I'll be honest and say I don't like the schedule, it's a fair 50-50 schedule, but I don't like not seeing my kids all the time. Yes, before anyone comes at me, I understand that that was what I was signing up for when I divorced, but that doesn't make not seeing my kids any easier. Sometimes my ex-wife and I will let our kids come over on each other's time if we have something going on. I've been dating someone for a few months, Amy. Amy and I had a date last Wednesday. It was going to be around 6 at a movie. Around noon, Kat, my ex, messaged me saying she would be going on a date and asked if I want to come to grab the kids. I was glad because I wanted to see my kids, so I said yes. Give me a minute to sort some things out. I then called Amy and asked if we could reschedule and I'll take her tomorrow on the date and explained that I'd like to see my kids. Also, no, this is not a reoccurring thing. Usually Kat tells me a few days beforehand, but it was last minute. She got mad at me, especially for some reason when I said that I'd be picking them up at my ex's house, and she said that I was blowing her off to take time out of my day for my ex. I tried explaining that that was crazy. I'm not going there to have a few drinks, I'm picking up my kids. But apparently it was the same thing, and I was being very disrespectful to her by blowing her off to take time for my ex, and I'm disrespecting our relationship. So I told her that I really don't get why she thinks that because I'm literally going to pick up my kids. This ended in an argument with her saying fine and then refusing to take any of my calls. I picked up my kids, but she still didn't answer me. I stopped trying. Then when I stopped calling, she started texting me about how much of an idiot I was and she was breaking up with me. I said okay, but was I the problem here? I feel like I'm right here. I was getting my kids. I haven't introduced them yet because I think it's way too soon. I mean, I get it could be disappointing, but I don't feel like it was that bad. I would have taken her the next day. I don't feel like being with my ex was how it should have been taken, but it's how she took it. So, am I the idiot for cancelling on my girlfriend to pick up my kids? You are the idiot. You cancelled last minute on a date with your girlfriend, so your ex could have a date night instead of you and your girlfriend. To you, you see your kids. To Amy, you're dropping her last minute to support your ex's poor planning for her entertainment. She didn't call you to cover work or a medical emergency. How many ex-wives do this on purpose? Loads and loads. This is why I personally won't date anyone with children ever again. The children are turned into weapons to hurt the new partner, and the new partner is crazy for expecting respect and decency. Agree. I get you wanted to see your kids, but it was your wife's time with the kids, and you had a date planned with Amy. Blowing her off so your ex can go on her date is massive idiot territory. She was right to be mad with you. I would be too. And before anyone says the kid should come first, tell that to his ex who dumped his kids on him the moment it was more convenient for her than rescheduling her date. And no, she didn't strong-arm him into it. She merely used the fact he wants to see his kids as much as he can as a form of leverage. Disagree. If the ex said, you need to take the kids or I can't go on a date, that's facilitating. If he said no, the ex could have had a sitter ready, and he chooses to spend more time with the kids, that's being a dad. He prioritized his kids over a girlfriend he's only known for 3 months. Good on him for knowing his priorities. Not the idiot. She doesn't want a man who's a dad first. She sees your children as competition and you being forever linked to your ex because of the kids is a huge problem. She's jealous of that connection. It's good that she showed her true colors this early and went ahead and ended things, because she would have been terrible with your kids. My 46 male, ex-wife 44 and I divorced when my daughter was 3. My ex later remarried and moved to a different state. I had visitation and I tried my best to stay in my daughter's life, but eventually she just didn't want to spend time with me. She had a good life with her mom and stepdad. I paid child support and sent gifts at Christmas time and on birthdays. If she needed money for anything, I would give it. I met my current wife, 28, about 5 years ago. We were friends for a few years before she told me how she felt. We'd known each other so long our engagement was very short. We were engaged, married, and expecting our son in 1 year. My daughter is now 25 and engaged. My parents asked me about my plans for the wedding and I didn't have any answers because I didn't know about it. I called my ex to find out what was up. She said her husband was paying for everything and would walk my daughter down the aisle. I was hurt, but I understood that my adult daughter had made her choice in life. So I thanked her mom for making sure my parents got an invitation. Then I went back to my life. I have a newborn that needs my attention. Well, I've been hearing from her family now. Apparently I'm the idiot who doesn't even care that I'm not invited to my daughter's wedding. That's not entirely true. I chose not to make a big deal about it because I didn't want to cause drama over a wedding. But now my ex-in-laws are all on me about not attending, and now my daughter is on social media saying I abandoned her and I'm not even trying to come because I only care about my replacement family. Am I the idiot? Edit. My daughter, her mom and her stepdad came to my wedding. When I say I made an effort, I mean I paid for her phone so we could talk. When she got herself a new phone, she changed her number and didn't bother giving me the new number. Not the idiot. Not inviting someone to your wedding as attention-seeking behavior is a great way to end a relationship ultimately, and it sounds like it was pretty dead already. I guess she probably wanted you to put up a fight, demand that you be invited, and scream and cry to the universe that it wasn't fair you were separated from your daughter. She just doesn't understand that you've already been through that when you were first cut out of her life by her own choice. You instead did the adult thing and chose to respect her decision at face value. She played a child's game with an adult who didn't get to spend time with his child. No wonder you didn't play the way she wanted. You know, OP, this is interesting because on the surface, you aren't at fault here. But this is so much more loaded than a wedding invite. This is your child and she's felt like you've given up on her for a long time. I think she's waiting for you to fight for her love and demand her attention. The fact that you're so matter-of-fact and indifferent towards your relationship must break her heart. Listen to what she's saying. She feels abandoned by you. You also didn't stop considering that you married someone who's virtually her age and are starting a new family. That is tough for any child, but to think that she will likely have a child of her own and a sibling so close in age is, well, unsettling. Everyone's the idiot here. The point here is that you aren't close enough to your daughter to know she's getting married. She's also the idiot for turning her wedding invites into a test of your attention, but she quickly found out you don't pay any attention to her. I think a lot is missing here. I'm leaning toward you are the idiot, OP. You have a daughter and don't consider her to be a part of your life. You imply this is all her doing, but she was a child when you and your ex divorced. As an adult and a parent, you had a responsibility here. My 29 male, wife 30 and I have a preschool son. As Halloween approached this year, my son let me know he wanted to dress up as a character from his favourite show. Unfortunately, these aren't costumes that are readily available to buy, so I was going to have to do some crafting magic and make them. I'm a stay-at-home father and my wife is a workaholic. She could cut down on her hours if she wished, but she's always been a very work-driven and focused person. She's not very maternal. Because of this, my son has never been very attached to her. They have time together at dinner, but it's always just me, even when my wife is off work, like during bath time and bedtime. This isn't me complaining. I signed on for the stay-at-home dad life and I enjoy every minute of it. I just wish, for his sake, that she would be more involved. About a month before Halloween, my son asked if my best friend, 35 male, could dress up with us. He'd already assigned himself and me a specific character, and I'd started to work on the costumes, so I figured adding one more wouldn't be a big deal. He adores best friend. They have such a sweet bond and have since my son was born. I asked my best friend if he wanted to join our trick-or-treating, and he immediately agreed. During dinner the night following this, I asked him what character he wanted his mom to be. My mom said he only wanted to go trick-or-treating with daddy and best friend. Over the next month, I would casually bring it up again to my son, who continually gave the same answer. My wife was clearly hurt, but would always brush it off. Fast forward to Halloween night. I had spent weeks working on these little costumes for all of us. As we were getting ready, my wife and I got into a big argument over the fact that she didn't have a costume. I pointed out that if she'd wanted me to make her one, she could have requested I do so, or she could have gotten one for herself. She said it was ridiculous that the three of us were doing a matching theme, leaving her out of it, and that she wasn't even going. In the end, best friend and I took him trick-or-treating alone, and my wife still isn't speaking to me because she can't believe I went without her. Am I the idiot? Why did you let your preschooler exclude mom and kinda just roll with it? Especially since you say that she was hurt by it, and also that you wish they had a stronger bond. I don't want to trick-or-treat with mom. How come? Mom is very excited to go with us. I think it will be so much fun if we all go together. It's that easy, OP. Exactly. You are the adult in charge and you should have made sure to include your wife with a costume that matched. Your entire post comes across as judgmental and whiny. You seem to want to prove that you're the better parent. What's that about? If you're unhappy, talk to your wife. Don't use your son to punish her. Do better by your wife and your son. OP's post is dripping with resentment toward his wife, in my opinion, so he was probably more than happy to exclude her and blame it on the kid. I must go with "You are the idiot," OP. I'm half waiting for the update where you turn the guest room into an art studio for the best friend without discussing it with your wife. I, male 51, live with my wife 49 and 3 kids, a girl 24 and 2 boys 21 and teen. I pay the mortgage, I pay the bills, I pay for groceries. My wife works and her money goes for our vacations and retirement. We're happy with this arrangement. She makes about $85,000 a year, I make more. My daughter has a job that she got after college. My middle kid works part-time while he's in school to pay for extras. All 3 of my kids will graduate their undergrad with no debt. I work weird hours and shifts. I'm writing this at 3:30 in the morning because I just got home. There was a note waiting for me on the fridge berating me for eating a box of firecracker shrimp I found in the freezer and made myself for supper yesterday. Apparently it was something my daughter had bought for herself. There wasn't any note on it in the freezer or anything. This has happened before, but I think it will be the last time. I'm thinking of talking to my wife and asking her to tell my daughter that anything in the freezer or fridge that isn't labelled is fair game, or that she has to start paying for all of her groceries because she doesn't buy the basics. She eats all the groceries that my wife buys. I don't really have a problem with her living here rent-free and eating my food while she saves money. I have a problem with her calling me an idiot for eating food I found in my freezer in my house. I should probably add that in the past I found out that more than once food she got actually just meant food that she added to the grocery list that I paid for and her mom shopped for. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Assuming your wife does at least some of the grocery shopping, how are you supposed to know that the shrimp was hers? Of course you have to eat food from your own kitchen. Talk to your daughter about putting her name on something if she bought it specially for herself. You are the idiot. Why are you incapable of having this conversation with your adult child yourself? Asking your wife to speak to her is ridiculous. You claim to be fine with the arrangement, but the "in my freezer in my house" and specifying that it's you that pays for bills and not your wife makes it sound like you feel entitled because you're the breadwinner. Why is it relevant that your kids aren't paying for college, except to basically give another reason why your money is so important? If you aren't okay with your 24-year-old daughter living there rent-free and not paying for groceries, that's fine. She's 24. But then don't say you are. That's the root of this. Yeah, the "I pay for everything, my wife only pays for retirement and vacations" sounds crazy. Talk to your daughter and eat unlabeled food from your fridge. But number 1, use your words and tell your kids you want them out. 2, funding your retirement is a lot, and I hope your wife pulls this petty BS when you try to buy shrimp after retirement. Background: my younger sister and I were under 5 when our parents divorced. 2 years later, our mom was in a horrific car accident that changed our lives forever. Unfortunately, my father had already married again at the time, and they made the decision, him and his wife, to have her take over and raise us as their own children together, even though my mom did nothing wrong and was technically still alive, just critically ill. My mom was left permanently disabled by her injuries, and she was in the hospital for almost a year and spent a further 3-ish years in rehabilitation learning how to function again. During all this, my sister and I were not allowed to see or speak to our mom, and during this time, my sister decided that my father's wife was her real mother and that mom was just dad's ex-wife, which was encouraged by him and his wife. Mom was able to get a place where she could ask the court for time with us. It started out supervised because of her disability and the time it had been since we'd seen her, but the damage was done between my sister and her. My sister didn't want to spend time with her. She didn't want her called Mom. She would yell at me for hugging Mom or calling her Mom and saying I was hurting our mum. The custody situation was fought back against by my father and his wife, who said Mom's place in our lives interrupted our stability and family dynamic. In the end, it was decided that it was in my best interest to see my mom and have a relationship with her, but that it was in my sister's best interest not to, and to have things go back to the way they were. No contact with Mom for her. Mom was heartbroken, and my father was furious that my mom would get access to me. Today, I'm 18, in my senior year of high school, and I now live with my mom and have cut off my father and his wife. I still talk to my sister, but our relationship is very strained. We no longer feel like sisters. We almost feel like step-siblings because we no longer claim the same parents. That includes my father. She's talked about graduation and how she wants to be there, but she doesn't want to go with Mom. She wants her parents there. I do not want them there. I do not want them in my life at all. She said she couldn't come otherwise. I told her I would not invite her parents just to have her there. I could hear her cry after I said it, and she was mad at me for picking Mom over my real family. I feel bad. Despite how messed up this is, I still love my sister, even though I'm not sure we can ever be close again, and I don't want to hurt her. Am I the idiot? That is just such a crappy situation. If your mom had left you by choice, I could maybe see your sister's side, but it was an accident. Not the idiot, but do try to cut your sister some slack and maintain a relationship with her, since she is only 15, and might see things differently and change her mind once she matures. However, cutting out your father and his wife is entirely your choice and justified. If they didn't try to pretend as your mom died, none of this would have happened, and you could still have a functioning family. I'm just wondering how happy they would feel if your mom hadn't recovered. Monsters. They intentionally brainwashed a young, impressionable child, so they wouldn't have to deal with the inconvenience of her mother. OP, it looks like she won't attend your graduation, and that sucks. But I wouldn't throw in the towel on your relationship with your sister yet. None of this is her fault. I disagree. Sister knows the truth. She just doesn't care about it. It's not her truth. Please don't feel bad about this. You're not hurting her. She's hurting you. She knows you're no contact with your dad and stepmom. She knows you're with your mother. Yet she's the one who's trying to put down the rules for your own graduation. Do not feel bad. She has chosen her path.